Welcome back to KETV Newswatch 7's Chronicle. This morning, we're looking at the senior loneliness epidemic. In just a moment, we'll speak with experts on what to look for and what to do. First, though, Maine has the oldest median age in the U.S., and many of them are isolated without anyone to talk to regularly. And that started the Senior Companion Program. We meet a woman who's going door to door to bring joy to others. Here's Jim Keithley.
Can't go out with summer shoes.
It's off to work she goes. Kitty Gee just turned 88 years old. She drives herself, admits she has a little bit of a lead foot.
They live alone.
There's no keeping her down. She admits, though, she was lonely after her husband died 5 years ago. She remembers those first few months without him.
I said, what am I going to do with myself? I got to do something, get a job.
And then she heard about the Senior Companion Program, and she said, where do I sign up? She heads out in all kinds of weather.
If it's decent, I go, because I do not want to stay sitting in that house looking at the wallpaper.
A year and a half later, she visits a different client every day. Those clients have become friends.
I guess they don't get tired of seeing me because they always want me to come back. So I enjoy it very much.
Today, she's off to see Juanita Nurse, who lives alone in Farmington, a few miles away.
You're right there. Come right in.
Here's your candy I promised you.
The two ladies sit and chat. Juanita actually younger than Kitty, but the two have so much in common. Juanita cherishes Kitty's weekly visits.
About 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours a week.
Yeah.
I get to laugh.
And guess what? These visits mean just as much to Kitty.
Well, there you go. I say that all the time. I get as much, maybe more, out of these visits than they do, because I live alone, and alone is alone. I'll see you next time, darling. Keep smiling, don't forget.
And she'll be back next week. For Juanita, she can't wait, and neither can Kitty.
I just love it because it gives me a purpose to get up in the morning and move along, and if I can bring somebody else a little bit of joy, companionship, I'm for it.
You go, Kitty. That is one way to cheer people up. Here with more ideas, Eric Gurley, the president and CEO of Emmanuel Communities. Jennifer's back with us too. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning. Thank you.
So we are seeing so many people retiring now, so many age 55 and up, and they're kind of being, tossed into this world of the unknown, right? Mm-hmm. Retirement.
True.
Emmanuel Communities has kind of, you kind of transitioned. You're transitioning these folks and you're helping them. In what ways?
Well, in many ways, we're serving now a younger generation of retirees. It's a different cohort. We're seeing the baby boomers coming along. And the baby boomers are very different in different desires, tastes, lifestyles than the previous generations that we served. And so very much it's about addressing the needs that they have and what they want out of life.
What do they want that the other generations didn't really ask for? What are they looking for?
At a younger age, I think they're looking for the next chapter of their life. They may still be working or doing that on a more part-time or casual basis. They want a lifestyle that allows them more flexibility, a little more freedom. And probably the biggest distinction of change has been that the silent generation had a very different emotional view of what their home was. And the younger baby boomers, they really don't.
They're not so connected to their houses?
Exactly. And they're more interested in how their environment fits them and their lifestyle.
And maybe moving to a place where they're not cutting the grass, they're not cleaning the gutters, right? They're not taking care of all those things that take time away from the things they really want to do.
Absolutely. Being able to log and leave and go traveling. And yes, without any of the maintenance hassles or the snow plowing or anything that goes along with home ownership.
Honestly, Julie, we can't kid ourselves. I like that myself. I mean, I have no problem not having to deal with snow shoveling or mowing my lawn or any of those things.
I'm not there yet, but I dream about it. So when choosing a community, what should someone look for? Should they look for something that has step up, like the more care they need, it's all right there? Or
well, there are many
where
options.
do you start?
What we've seen is, of course, with an influx of the baby boomers, the largest group of retirees we've ever seen in this country, what we're seeing is many, many options available. Oftentimes we find people that are thinking about making a transitional move, they are looking towards their future. Will their environment be able to accommodate them if their needs change.
Okay. And sometimes couples are on different levels too. Some
Exactly.
need different levels of care. How do you handle a situation like that?
The key is to have access and availability to meet those needs.
Sure.
And one of the joys of living in a community is to be able to travel and journey with your spouse or your loved one, no matter what their care needs are, and to keep that under one roof so that you can always be part of each other's life, no matter what the future holds for you.
You know, Julie, that's a really good point. We serve a lot of couples, and if you're a caregiver for somebody who's going through a great deal of health challenges, sometimes you can start to feel extremely lonely. And the beautiful thing about Emmanuel, like Eric said, is that there's so many opportunities, not only on the healthcare side, but also on the social side, so that I can feel safe and secure with my loved one getting the healthcare that they need or the support they need, and take a little break and not completely isolate myself in that whole journey.
Right.
And I can last like that. I can enjoy that for years and years.
What if folks aren't quite ready for the community, but they really do want to reach out and do some of those activities with other people their age?
Well, that's exactly what Emmanuel's about.
And that's where First Stage Retirement Housing comes in, and that's a venue for younger retirees that really don't need services,
Okay.
but yet they want to live in an environment with people of similar background,
Sure.
similar life experience, so that they don't feel disconnected. And when we talk about loneliness, it begins with disconnection. People who can no longer relate to you and the frame of reference you bring to your daily life.
Sure. What ages do people start thinking about this? Is it
Not soon enough.
midlife? I mean, not soon
true.
enough. That's the
True.
thing.
You know, it usually
is it usually
is-
too late, or is it usually
yeah.
10 years past when they should have done something, right?
That's typically the case,
Okay.
and it has been, but we see the younger retiree is a little more forward thinking.
Okay.
But it usually isn't age driven, it's life event driven.
Okay, so maybe an injury or an illness, perhaps?
Oftentimes it's something as simple as the kids graduating college.
Okay.
And now lifestyles changing.
It's like, now what?
Yes, you know, looking at retirement, looking at a new
Sure.
life for yourself,
Sure.
and how does that fit with your old life,
Sure.
which begins in your home.
What if you're cool with being by yourself, but you kind of want to mingle on your own terms? You know, how can you navigate that territory? Do you have optional activities or things like that?
Everything is optional.
Okay.
So the beautiful thing about Emmanuel is that we have so many different types of living. So we have patio home living, which if you just want to have a townhouse style of living. We have these beautiful lofts that are 55 plus active living. So it's literally 55 plus folks, but all the way through the continuum of aging, all the way up to long-term care and traditional assisted living, memory care and support. So it fits your lifestyle. We meet you wherever you are. And a great deal of the work that we've done in the past couple of years has really been focusing on experience and how we even continue to enhance and move from an exceptional experience to the next level of not only living and feeling like you're living on a resort, but just so every interaction that you have is an opportunity to create a new memory or to have a new tradition with your friends or by yourself or inviting your family in. We're really focused on that. It's an exciting time for what we're doing.
Are the communities spread out all over Omaha?
Yes,
Or are
we're in Omaha, Papillion,
Okay.
Lincoln, Des Moines, and continuing to grow as an organization.
Any golf courses, tennis courts, things like that?
Absolutely. We actually have one of our beautiful communities, Pacific Springs, nestled right on a golf course.
right. That's
For
right.
folks who are really active and excited. We have a bocce ball court outside, which is fantastic. We have a beautiful, at another one of our communities, we have a beautiful heated indoor pool, which is a big thing. We have a lot of grandkids that come swim
Nice.
with us on the weekends even.
And what we find in Nebraska is we have indoor activities and,
Sure.
and choral programs and competitions among our communities. Bridge is extremely popular,
Yes.
and bridge players are extremely competitive. Also, we have an explorers group that travels, and they just got back
Nice.
from Nashville, and this summer they're cruising to Alaska.
It doesn't sound like there's a moment to be bored or lonely.
No,
Very
but
good.
you can do as much or
Or as little as
you
you want. I like that. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much.
Still ahead, we're going to sit down with a senior who talks about changes in her life as she got older. First, though, a reminder that you can have some input on this show. If you'd like to be heard, you can email us or always give us a call. We're at news@ketv.com. We'll be right back.